stand with you on a mountain. I want you, I don't know if I need. I knew I loved you before I met. Fly to the moon and back.
Friends, before BTS had their army, before Harry Styles was out here breaking hearts, and before your favorite pop star even understood what a ballad was, there was Savage Garden. But baby, this ain't just another boy band tale. Oh no, we're talking about chart-topping hits, platinum albums, and a breakup so messy it left fans picking up the pieces of their shattered hearts. Behind the smooth harmonies and the catchy tunes, drama, betrayal, and a friendship that went from truly madly deeply to never gonna happen again. It all started in Brisbane, 1992. Daniel Jones, the guy who could make magic on a keyboard and guitar, and his brother Oliver, who was all about lead guitar and vocals, decided to team up and make music. Slowly but surely, they added in Jamie Sullivan on bass and his brother Scott on drums. Voila! Aussie family band vibes. Think the Von Trapps, but swap the mountains for pub gigs and a whole lot of drama. So Daniel, being the genius he is, had this light bulb moment. They needed a singer. Enter 1993, where Daniel slapped an ad in the Brisbane Street Press Time Off, looking for a vocalist. And guess who walked through the door? Darren Hayes, a university student working at a record store, basically living that every starving artist dream. Darren auditioned, and just like that, it was official. A band was born, and honey, their first gig, not exactly Madison Square Garden material. Picture this, performing in front of 4 people in Toowoomba. Yep, 4. But you know what? Darren slayed it. They wrote some original tracks, and things started looking up. Now, the name Red Edge wasn't exactly slapping, so Darren and Daniel decided to dip and go full duo mode, calling themselves, wait for it, Crush. Cute, but not iconic. Yeah, not quite the rock star magic they were after. But you know what they say? When in doubt, pull inspiration from Anne Rice's The Vampire Chronicles. So, bam, Savage Garden was born. Oh, and guess what else? They sent out 150 demo tapes to record companies worldwide. Talk about hustle. By 1995, they caught the ear of John Woodruff, a music industry legend who'd worked with The Angels, Baby Animals, and Diesel. He was all about that Savage Garden vibe, and get this, he believed in them so much, he mortgaged his house to fund their debut album. Iconic. Next stop, the studio with producer Charles Fisher, and baby Savage Garden was on their way to world domination. Well, at least for a hot minute. In May of 1996, these Aussie heartthrobs dropped their debut single, I Want You. And the charts? Oh honey, they didn't know what hit 'em. The track shot up to number 1, 4 on the Australian charts, and by the end of the year, it was sitting pretty at number 12 on the end-of-year singles chart. Guess what? That made it the highest charting song by an Aussie artist that year. And if you think that was it, think again. Fast forward a few months and bam, they're nominated for their first ARIA Award, Breakthrough Artist, Single. Oh yes, it was only the beginning. By November 1996, these Aussie boys were signing a deal with Columbia Records, setting the stage for the global takeover. And how did they repay their label? Oh, they spent the next 8 months in a hotel in King's Cross, writing their debut album. Then came To the Moon and Back in November 96. This track wasn't just another song. It was a freaking rocket ship to the top. By January 1997, it was number 1 in Australia, like they were already pop royalty. But wait, there's more. They weren't about to stop there. March 1997 rolls around and bam! Truly, madly, deeply drops. This song, baby, it became the Savage Garden anthem. You couldn't escape it if you tried. It was everywhere. And then, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, Savage Garden took home 10 ARIA Awards in September 97. 10. Best Pop Release, Song of the Year for To the Moon and Back, Album of the Year, Best Group, like, what did they not win? They were basically the kings of pop, slaying the late 90s. But hold up, it gets juicier. Their debut album didn't just do well in Australia. Oh no, it hit number 3 on the US Billboard 200 and even went gold with the RIAA. They were everywhere. Pop gods? More like pop emperors. Fast forward to 1999, and these boys were back at it again. Their second album, Affirmation, was cooked up with Walter Afanasieff, the same guy who made Mariah Carey's music sparkle. So what we got was a little less pop sugar and a lot more adult contemporary. That album went 8 times platinum in Australia. 8. They were the definition of success. But like every great pop story, things started to fall apart. By the end of 2001, rumors swirled that the band was done. Why? Because Darren Hayes had his eyes set on a solo career. And if you know anything about solo projects, drama is never far behind. Darren dropped the bomb in October 2001. Savage Garden was officially over. That was it. The band's website posted a farewell message thanking their fans. But here's the real tea. Hayes revealed that just before their second album dropped, Daniel Jones was not feeling the fame. Meanwhile, Hayes was ready to break out and do his own thing. So what does he do? He drops Insatiable in January 2002, and it's an instant hit. Solo career? Check. His album Spin came out in March with some absolute bangers like I Miss You and Crush. But Hayes wasn't just stopping there. Oh no. He kept coming with the goods. 4 more albums later, The Tension and the Spark, 2004, This Delicate Thing We've Made, 2007, Secret Codes and Battleships, 2011, and Homosexual, 2022. And let me tell you, Homosexual was all about Darren embracing his true self. It was raw, it was real, and honey, the world wasn't quite ready for it. But Darren didn't care. He was out there living his truth, and we were here for it. And while Darren was off being the pop sensation of the new millennium, Daniel Jones, he was like, okay, let's see what I can do. He started his own production company, Meridian Music, and even built a studio, Level 7 Studios, where he helped nurture young Aussie talent like Aniki and Bachelor Girl. Jones wasn't just twiddling his thumbs, y'all. He was making power moves behind the scenes, helping artists like Julie Strickland and The Wish break out with their own debut albums. But in 2005, Jones decided to peace out from the music industry completely. He packed up, moved to Las Vegas, and got into the real estate game. Fast forward to 2015, and Jones, along with his partner DeLeon and their 2 daughters, Michaela, born in 2006, and Kira, born in 2010, are living it up in the United States. In 2023, the family decided it was time to return to their roots and made their way back to the Gold Coast, where they've been kicking it ever since. But what about the one who didn't disappear? Well, in 2007, someone from the Daily Telegraph dared to ask Hayes if he and Jones would ever get back together. Hayes said, "No, never. I once said I'd only do it if it cured cancer, and that's still how I feel." But let's not forget that despite the breakup, Savage Garden still had a massive impact. In November 2005, they dropped Truly Madly Completely, the best of Savage Garden, a greatest hits package that included a brand new track by Hayes called So Beautiful. Then, in 2015, to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the band's formation, Hayes released Savage Garden, the singles, which included a previously unheard demo from 1994 called She. Hayes explained that the song was about the powerful women in his life, from his mother to his sister, and all the amazing women who helped shape him into who he was. The album also came with a bonus DVD of music videos, so fans got even more Savage Garden nostalgia. The re-release of their 2 studio albums with bonus tracks and live performances was the final cherry on top. Now, what else has Hayes been up to? Well, back in 1994, Darren Hayes married his childhood sweetheart, Colby Taylor. But by 1998, the couple had separated, and by 2000, they were officially divorced. As it turns out, one day, Darren picked up a gay magazine, and let's just say it opened his eyes. He had an epiphany. He was attracted to men. Mortified, Darren ran to a phone booth and called Lifeline. Fortunately, the counselor he got was a gay man who bluntly told him, "Look, love, you need to go home and tell your wife you're gay." Darren poured all that heartbreak and pain into the band's second album, Affirmation. He recorded that album in San Francisco and then bought himself a house there. Darren started coming out to his close friends and the head of his label in the early 2000s. It wasn't until 2005 that he made his relationship with boyfriend Richard Cullen public, and in a ceremony in London, no less. That was huge. In 2006, they officially tied the knot with a civil partnership, and Darren was living his truth. In 2013, the couple made their relationship even more official, applying for a marriage license in California and getting married to support the fight for same-sex marriage. All this time, people had been speculating about Darren's sexuality, but he kept it on the down low. Once he announced it, he got real about the challenges he faced. Fast forward to 2023. After 17 years of marriage, Darren and Richard announced they were separating. And let me tell you, this wasn't some scandalous drama. No third parties, no infidelity, just life. Darren shared a heartfelt statement saying that their marriage had gently and beautifully come to rest. They were still best friends, still supporting each other emotionally. Now that's how you handle a breakup like a pro. But don't think Darren's journey was all sunshine and rainbows. No. This man battled depression for years, since his childhood, in fact. He even admitted that he was hiding his sexuality while in Savage Garden, and it drove him to the brink of suicide. He was barely holding it together. His depression became a gift and a curse. It was the thing that allowed him to tap into deep emotions that many people never get to feel. He channeled all that darkness into songs that spoke to others, songs that made people feel seen and heard. And, oh, did I mention Darren's a huge Star Wars fan? He's been obsessed since childhood. He collects memorabilia and even auditioned for a role in Revenge of the Sith. The music industry, being the hot mess that it is, wasn't ready for Darren Hayes, the openly gay pop star. They wanted him to look a certain way, act a certain way. And when Darren made the video for his single, Insatiable, the label actually scrapped it because he was too gay. The label execs even made him straighten his hair because it was too feminine. They pushed him off to Europe, and his career took a major hit. He eventually became an independent artist, creating his own music, and though it wasn't easy, he was making the music he loved. After all that struggle, Darren hit a low point. He decided he wasn't going to make music anymore. He was just done. But life, as it tends to do, had other plans. After watching the film Call Me By Your Name, Darren had an emotional breakthrough. And he came back with a vengeance, dropping an album titled Homosexual. And the cherry on top? Darren got back on stage for the first time in a decade, headlining the Sydney Gay and Lesbian Mardi Gras. He was finally, fully, unapologetically himself, and the world loved him for it. But the latest update from him hasn't been all that pleasant. Hayes shared a major update on Instagram, revealing that he suffered a serious accident on March 17, 2025, just 2 months after his mother passed away. He fainted after getting out of bed, collapsed 3 times, and woke up in a pool of blood with a broken jaw and shattered teeth. He was rushed to the emergency room where doctors acted quickly, and he had emergency surgery on March 21st to repair the damage. They inserted a titanium brace to reconnect his jaw, and he's been wired shut for at least 8 weeks while it heals. Darren's doctors are still trying to figure out why he fainted. His heart and arteries are fine, and there's no brain tumor. He's not on drugs or alcohol, so this was completely unexpected. The accident came at a really tough time for him, especially after his divorce in 2023, losing his mom, and then learning about his father's passing. Despite everything, Darren is staying positive and determined to recover. He's been through a lot, but he's pushing forward, and we're all here cheering him on. Well, their time together might have been brief, but Savage Garden definitely left us with a lifetime of hits and iconic memories. Darren Hayes with his $20 million net worth, and Daniel Jones with his $3 million, they've both done all right for themselves. And while a reunion seems unlikely, let's be real, they gave us 2 legendary albums that'll never go out of style.